All right, everybody, nice to see you all here today. My name is Neill. I am the Director of Research Engagement and Internationalization in the College of Liberal Arts. I'm also, for those of you that don't know me, and I see several familiar faces here, so hello to those of you that I do know, and welcome, and thank you for joining us to those of you that are new faces to me. I'm also a professor in the Interdisciplinary Studies and Liberal Arts program. I have worked with a lot of students over the years in research, both in funding them and mentoring them. So I want you to all know that I'm a reference for you if you need anything, have any questions about the program, don't hesitate to get in touch. And I'm also here as the Director of Research to help with professional development things. So it's really nice to meet you all. Today we're going to talk about the CLA SURP. And SURP stands for Summer Undergraduate Research Program. It is a fairly standard term for a full-time undergraduate engagement in faculty-led research. So for those of you that perhaps lean more toward creative arts, don't let the word research dispel you from being interested in the program. In the College of Liberal Arts, we see scholarly engagement encompassing the breadth of the disciplines in our college. So everything from what might be considered hard science or social science, all the way to visual and performing arts. So all of those things are considered scholarship as relevant to your interest and disciplinary areas. So just know that moving forward that we'll refer to it as the SURP, but that doesn't mean that some disciplines are not included. It's a fully inclusive program. So I am going to begin by sharing my screen and walking you through the website with the relevant information on the program, and then just open it up to questions. So when you go to the CLA website, this is the College of Liberal Arts main web page, and there's now a tab at the top called Research. And if you click the Research tab, it will just take you to a page on research engagement in the College of Liberal Arts. We are currently building out this page. So there's not a lot of content here, which might make it easier for you to find the relevant documents for SURP. My contact information is here. So if you need me, feel free to email me and we can set up a meeting. For our purposes today, we're really interested in these two links. So if you click the SURP link, this takes you to a page that has the very basic information about the program. So it is for summer 2021. We've already completed phase 1, and we are now in phase 2, which is what you're all here for today, to learn about student applications. And we hope to announce the final awardees by May 21st, which will give the 10 SURP students time to plan what happens over the course of the summer. In terms of what is a SURP, this is a college-specific initiative, so it's College of Liberal Arts specific. Other colleges across campus also have similar programs. And the SURP will award each student funded $3,500. And this is awarded as a stipend. We can talk about that in a moment. So it's not like punching a clock or hourly work. This is compensation to make it feasible for you to engage in something that looks like a full-time summer undergraduate experience. Your faculty mentor will also receive some compensation because it takes a lot of effort and a lot of engagement for faculty to work with students on a full-time basis. We had anticipated funding 9 SURPs. We're now able to fund 10, which is wonderful. This is our first year offering this program, and we're very much looking forward to watching how this unfolds. So the duration of the SURP will be approximately 8 weeks during the summer of 2021. And how that schedule aligns with each project and each student is really between the funded students and their faculty advisors. And we'll talk about that as we move forward. I do want to give a huge thank you to our donors So this money comes both from Cal Poly, the Office of Student Research, and the provost, as well as some donors who are specifically focused on funding College of Liberal Arts faculty and students. And so this will be important as we move forward. We want to be sure to thank our funders in whatever publications or presentations that we do. We can talk more about that later. So in brief, the SURP is meant to be a faculty-led research project that students apply to work on. Students are matched with faculty based on interest level and experience level, and they engage in the research process. We have 4 main goals for the SURP. We hope to promote diverse and equitable engagement for CLA students in faculty-led research and creative activities. And what this means is we're hoping to have lots of applicants, and we're hoping to engage more students more broadly in the scholarship process. Secondly, we hope that the SURP enhances faculty participation in scholarship. So each SURP student will be working on a faculty-led research project that hopefully leads to presentations, publications, and enhanced professional development. We hope that the SURP program can build student-faculty mentoring relationships that last beyond just the summer term. So there's a lot that we need to learn as students about scholarship and professional development, whether that means grad school for you or perhaps a career right after you graduate college. And finally, we're hoping to begin building more and more scholarship and more scholars active in research in the CLA. So for students, and we'll talk a little bit more in detail about this, but in brief, what you need to know is that you'll be submitting an application for specific research projects. You are eligible to apply for up to 3 separate projects, and you need to submit an application for each project that you are interested in. The application should address all 4 of these areas, and you are allotted up to 500 words. So you could write a 500-word personal narrative, a 500-word description of your interest in the project, 500 words on the description of how the research experience will impact your academic success. And I want students to bear in mind that when we ask you about academic success, there is so much that you can talk about, right? It might make you a better student, but it might also enhance lots of areas of your own professional development. And finally, the 4th area is a description of your preparation to be a student researcher on the project you're applying to. And I want to again just highlight that this can include not only your coursework, prior experiences that you've had doing research or creative activities, but also other formal and informal experiences that you have had that give you particular qualifications to work on the project that you're interested in. And that's going to vary by student and by project. So that's the brief introduction. If you would like to know more, you can click this link here. This is a fully accessible PDF document, and it gives you a little more information. In terms of student interest, you're going to want to come down here to the section on phase 2, CLA student proposals. And what you will want to note are a few things. 1, applications are due May 14th. You, and this is noted later, I'll give you the email address. It's here on this application form here, that you want to send these 4 sections in each application. And again, you're eligible to apply for up to 3 proposals. And you're going to email those. I'll give you the email here is right here, Len Ricard. And these are due May 14th by midnight. So as long as you get them into Len's mailbox by May 14th at midnight, they'll be added to our review process. And I'll talk about how they're reviewed in just a minute. You want to be sure to address all 4 of these criteria areas, and make sure that you're specific about which projects to which you are applying. If you are selected for a SURP, you'll want to read up on what will be required of you. So this is an 8-week program. Full-time student engagement is equivalent to about 20 hours a week, and you will sort out your schedule with your faculty advisor. Once you have completed the SURP, you will be awarded your stipend, and I am not sure exactly what the time frame of that is. I think we just award it. I don't think you're awarded at the end. It's awarded over summer. And this faculty stipend will come through financial aid as one stipend payment to the student, to each funded student. And this is a not an hourly pay. It is a stipend to support you doing this research. And because it comes through financial aid, it's the paperwork is fairly streamlined. It's an undocu-friendly process, and so it allows for broader participation. At the end of the summer, you will need to submit, as a funded student, you will need to submit a final report, and you can work with your faculty project director on this. We hope that the research will lead to either a presentation or a publication for each SURP student. And we will hold in fall a small symposium where each of you can present your work. We plan to do this as a poster session, so each of you will have the chance to design your own poster, presenting sort of the scope of what you've done over the summer. The CLA will provide funding to have that printed out. And if all goes well, maybe we can have a face-to-face session. If not, during this summer or this fall, it would be a virtual session if need be. My information is here. Again, if you need to contact me, I'm going to show you one more document before I stop sharing my screen. And that is this SURP evaluation rubric. So RFP stands for Request for Proposals. So this has all of the information about the proposal. And then this is the evaluation rubric. So for student applications, you'll want to get through the faculty part and come down here to the phase 2 student applications. So when you're writing your application and you think to yourself, how will this be evaluated? Check out the evaluation rubric here. So for each of these, there's sort of a little question about what it is that we're looking to know from you, and then a rubric on how that will be scored. So for instance, we've asked you, one of the things we've asked you to do is tell us in 500 words or less why you are interested in this specific project that you might be applying for. And when we evaluate that, we will read this and find out if you have told us exactly what you're interested in and how this relates to you and your undergraduate development. Or perhaps you've really not talked about why this might be of great interest to you, and that would score lower on this rubric. And we will do that with each of these sections that you submit. What is the potential impact of SURP on your academic success? What is your preparation for participation? Notice that this is the lowest scoring component of the rubric. And that's because we don't expect you all to be highly prepared. We expect this to be a learning experience for you. And finally, your personal narrative. So how does your personal narrative align with the SURP goals? And this is your chance to tell us how high impact practices like faculty-led research might advance your engagement or your postgraduate success. Perhaps you're a first generation student. Perhaps you have not had research opportunities before. These are all areas that you can discuss and describe in your personal narrative. I guess there's one more thing I need to click, which is the faculty projects. So you can find this list of projects either on the SURP projects link in the right navigation ribbon, or you can find it at the bottom of the main page, which I just clicked on. And so for each of these, you can click the drop-down menu, see the contact person, their home department, their email address, and then you can read the project description. Definitely note the student qualifications and how many students will be funded on each project. And it's either 1 or 2 students. We also strongly encourage you to contact faculty members that you might be interested in working with, because there may be other elements, other questions that you have, or issues that you would like clarified, and that faculty member would be the best person to talk to you about those things. I'm going to stop, well, I'll just do this for now. And that's the basic information on the SURP. I know you all have lots and lots of questions, so let's go ahead and fast forward to that. If you have that question, someone else has the question, so by all means, if you can either put those in the chat or you can raise your hand. I'm just going to go in the order that I see people appearing on my screen. So Ashley.
Hi, thanks. I noticed that the rubric had the specific things that you wanted to address, and you mentioned the 4 points of criteria. I was just wondering how explicit you want, or you think that we should make those. Like, do you think we should literally say like point 1, point 2, or should we just write like a narrative style that just implements all those things and make sure that we're hitting those points?
So narrative style is generally a better option because it allows you to be a bit more descriptive, right? If you just enumerate things, then the reviewer might find that we wanted some more description about those. It's fine to start your paragraph by saying, you know, I'm highly qualified for this position based on 3 primary factors. And then you don't only say them, you describe them a bit too. And, you know, bear in mind that when you're looking at the rubric and the statement, the 4 sections of your application, that we know that you are an undergraduate, right? And part of the SURP goals are to expand participation. So we want the SURP to support students who perhaps haven't yet had research experience. What it's not meant to be is ongoing funding for students that have been consistently engaged in research. It's meant to broaden participation. Does that help?
Yes, thank you so much.
Nope. Samantha.
So I was talking to a professor I'm taking a class with right now about helping him with research, but it doesn't look like it got funding. But I'm like, if I wanted to get credit for helping him with research, should I just talk to my department, or is there something I would want to do with CLA?
Yeah, so there are lots of routes. The SURP is meant to it's meant to be one more opportunity for students to engage in research. So with the CLA, we have a couple of opportunities. We have this, you have faculty that have likely been, that have likely applied for funding elsewhere as well, either internally through, there's something called the RISCA that's also looks favorably on engaging students in research that's funded on campus. And faculty also get funding to support students through extramural grants from places like the National Science Foundation and other places. And so if one of these projects does not appeal to you, then by all means, right, speak with that advisor and find out how they will get their research funded and move forward with that. You can always work on research projects on a paid basis in different ways, or an unpaid basis moving forward, hoping to get funded later. And so the SURP will fund 10 students on these 8 projects for this year. And I'm also here to talk with you about other opportunities if there are certain stipulations or certain ideas that you have. Does that help?
Yeah, thanks.
Thought there was another hand up.
Oh yeah, you answered my question. Thank you.
I'm going to look at the chat here too. Let's see. There's a question. I'm a senior graduating this spring. Am I eligible to apply? And actually, the SURP is meant for students that they're still students. So those of you that are graduating in spring will not be eligible to apply. And that is unfortunate. And I apologize for that. I wish we had more funding so we could open it up to a broader audience. Let's see, Cameron, hang on to your question. I'm going to go through a couple of these in the chats. How should we format the application? That's a great question. So be really clear. If you're applying to one project, then just have some subheadings, right? With some text that is within the word limit, and let us know, it's not a bad thing to say, like, here is this personal narrative, and then you have your 500 words, and then applicant qualifications, and then you have your 500 words. But also let us know who you are, right? So put your name in a header or a footer or at the top of page 1. And then if you're applying to more than one project, be sure that that is also clear, because you'll have these 4 sections of your application. And then if you apply to a second project, you'll want a new title and then your qualifications and application statements for that project. All right, let's see. Third question, is this considered a job? I'm an international student, so I'm trying to figure out what I need to do in terms of a visa. It's not technically a job, so the payment comes as a stipend to support research engagement, but Sarah, why don't you email me separately and I will get you some more technical information about that, because I'm sure this is a standard question, but I don't have that information already stored in my memory bank. So let's talk about that after I contact financial aid and find out exactly. All right, let's see. Is the program virtual? Are you required to be here in SLO? Speak with each faculty member. So we are not stipulating whether this is a face-to-face or a virtual research experience. This will be different.
Yeah, you guys can talk. I'm not on
each project. And we would hope that having a conversation with the faculty advisor for that specific project will give you some more information about that. The university is operating under very strict research protocols right now. So if it is something that is face-to-face, I have some guidance for both the student and the faculty member on the project. Can you apply if you still have research experience? Yes, absolutely, right? We're not looking to make sure no one that's ever done research can work on these at all. We're looking to make sure that we're aligning students and projects in the best possible way to meet all of those goals, to enhance student participation, faculty scholarship, and also make sure that we are broadening participation. And I can give you a little more information about that. So we know that first-generation students, transfer students, often underrepresented minority students, participate at less high rates, so at lower rates than other students. We also know that the benefit of participating in things like a SURP program for transfer, first-gen, and underrepresented minority students has a greater impact, right? It does all sorts of things in terms of enhancing retention rates, enhancing what happens after graduate school, enhancing performance in college. But we also know that these two things go together. So students from non-traditional backgrounds, first-generation students, transfer students, not socially, economically different background students, and underrepresented students often don't engage. They don't have the mentorship and haven't had the experience to approach faculty and seek these opportunities. And so part of our goal here is to make sure that everyone has access to these opportunities. It's not to draw a hard line and say some people don't get access. It's actually to do the exact opposite. So definitely apply. And if you're early in your college career, so say you're a freshman or a sophomore, we hope to keep this program going. We don't anticipate this being a one-year program. So we anticipate growing the program and being able to offer more opportunities, not fewer. Let's see. I'm going to switch over here to Cameron and then jump back to the chat. So Ben, I'll start with you when I come back. Cameron.
Hi, thanks. So I was wondering if, so I know that like the projects for like machine learning and like Latin philosophy are like philosophy based, right? So I was being a philosophy major, I was wondering if I can apply for the other projects, such as like that psychology one or those other ones like that.
Sure can, right? I'm in the interdisciplinary studies program. So our students, for instance, come with all sorts of interesting qualifications and interests. And you should, I would caution you to take a look at what the student qualifications are for each project, and apply to projects that you have some aptitude and qualification for. And most of those qualifications are fairly flexible, since, right, you're not applying for postgraduate jobs or applying for experiences to build those qualifications. Yeah, all right. Let's see, Ben. There is also the possibility of getting academic credit for internships. Yes, really great point. So when you're thinking about how you might engage with faculty for these experiences, there are ways that you can, depending on your department, also perhaps enhance your academic credit through something like an internship. And building these relationships with faculty advisors and mentors often is the first step in expanding those opportunities and engagements when other potential funding sources arise.
Yeah, if I could jump in on that. This is kind of a unique experience because of the pandemic, and we're trying to find internships, which are very difficult, obviously, right now. And so we're being more lenient, I should say. In the future, it might not be so much, but currently, yes. And for our project that I have with a couple other faculty members, we are kind of open to also maybe just doing, if you don't get the SURP, maybe having you work on the project as well, but working on it in a different way with some academic credit.
Yeah, and I would say too that this varies by department, right? So different departments have different ideas about what constitutes internships or special projects type learning. So definitely speak to your faculty members and the chairs of your department about what your opportunities are. And that kind of feeds into Doran's question next. If a student isn't awarded the opportunity to work on one of the specific SURPs with funding, are volunteer research opportunities available for these projects? Volunteer research opportunities are a really good first start to beginning to get engaged with faculty-led research. I can't say for all of these projects what's going on. We do want to make sure that students are receiving equitable treatment, right? So funding one student and asking another one to work for free may not be something that some faculty want to do, and that may not be something that some students want to do. That said, as Dr. Timms just mentioned, there are other ways of compensating you, right? So it might be that course credit or an internship is something that makes a lot of sense for you as an individual basis, on an individual basis. So speak with the faculty in that department. And I'm here if you have specific questions that you want to follow up with me about. Let's see. Yes, the recording of this meeting will be available. What we'll have to do is dump it onto YouTube, and then we'll send out a link to everybody like we did for this. Okay. Let's see. Are the faculty choosing the students or the SURP organizers? It's going to be a collaboration. So what we hope to do is review applications and then consult with faculty and come up with a really good matching that provides the faculty member with what they need. And a student applicant who also meets those SURP goals. We're not looking to mandate who works on which project. We are looking to engage collaboratively to work with expanding access to these programs. Let's see. If we're applying to several projects, can we specify which one we would prefer? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And you can, we don't have a specific guideline for doing that, but you can certainly say, this is my top choice, and I feel like I'm very qualified for this project. And then you can say, other interests, I also have interest in this project. Yeah, let's see. Okay, Cade, I see it. You were nodding, so I was like, that wasn't your question. Let's see, last question for now. What are you looking for in the personal narrative? So in the personal narrative, I'm hoping to give you the opportunity to tell me why you're a good fit for this. And there are lots of reasons that that might be the case that fall outside the scope of why you're interested in a project or how it might benefit your academic success, right? And so, for instance, if you are a student who is a non-traditional student who perhaps has very few opportunities to engage in unfunded summer scholarly development, that would be something that we would want to know, right? Because part of, and not the only goal, but part of the goals of the SURP, again, is to make sure that opportunities are equitably distributed. And so I'm happy to talk more about this if there are follow-up questions, but looking at the rates of engagement in high impact practices among undergraduate students, the vast majority of those experiences go to students that have middle income, non-minority, non-first generation status. And what we're looking for in your narrative is to understand something about you and how this, how you see this experience coordinating with your personal journey, right? We don't need to know super personal stuff about you. We just want to know a little bit about what you see happening in terms of your engagement with this and how it benefits you as part of your development through through the undergraduate career that you're pursuing. Ariadne.
I was wondering, I know that each project has like a list of student qualifications, and I was wondering where on the application we should say like how we fulfill those qualifications, or if there's a project we're applying to where like we don't quite fulfill all the qualifications, but we're still interested in it. Is there like, where would be the right place to say that?
Yeah, so one of the one of the 4 areas that you are asked to provide in your application is your preparation to be a student researcher. And so that whole up to 500 word section can be you specifically addressing those either required or preferred characteristics. But we've also asked you to just keep in mind that you might bring a lot of qualifications that the faculty advisor has not said. Like they may say we need, you know, upper division knowledge in history, for instance. So you've taken a couple of upper division history classes, and you might have lots of other experience beyond that particular named characteristic that or qualification that you want to include. So we encourage you to think about, to put a little bit of thought into, you know, why you're going to be a good fit for this. We expect a good number of applications, but we also are realistic about knowing that you're not going to say, you know, I've been a history researcher for 3 years and I have all the experience needed to do this, because you're still learning. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Let's see, one more question in the chat. To clarify, should we mail each application for 3 different projects separately in 3 separate documents? Not necessary. Go ahead and put them in one and just give them a clear title for which application you're applying. That might be a little bit easier for us to sort of keep your materials together, since these are going to circulate to a committee of reviewers as well as the faculty involved in the projects. Moving forward, we will have a better submission process for this. We have a program that we were planning to use, and it did not pan out in the way that we wanted. So the timing of that means you just have to do it old school and prepare these and email them. Moving forward, for those of you that are not going to be graduating in the next year the application process will look a little bit different. So what else can I tell you? Ben, did you want to add anything? Do we have any other PIs?
Sure, I just kind of jumped in because I want to see the student side of the process. And thank you, Dr. Neill, for all this work. It's a really great program. And I'm looking at, I think like half the students on this are in my class coming up at noon. So they're gluttons for punishment. You can spend 3 hours with me instead of 2. But really did a great job, I think, of promoting it and getting out to the students, and you guys should apply. It's competitive, so don't be upset if things don't work through. But you know, but it's a really important thing, I think, in terms of creating an idea of like, how you can apply for some of these things, and the research is really great. There's a bunch of great projects up there. And so we're kind of excited about that. I was also curious with Dr. Neill about like how we choose the students. That's going to be something that's a little bit complicated. But again, we can also work with students outside of this actual program too, for research projects. And I like the idea that we're getting us faculty interested in actually having research projects with students, whether it's funded or not. Both ways are great. So this is a great project. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just echo a couple of those things. So applying for one of the SURPs is the first step, right? So you're going through the process of thinking about what engaging in this sort of summer activity would mean for you, and applying in a way that perhaps for the first time for many of you asks you to sit down and think about your qualifications and your motivation, right? And to articulate that in writing to us, to tell us what it is you think you're doing here. You all know that you have a certain checklist of things you think you need to accomplish in college in order to get to whatever your next step is, postgraduate education or a job of some sort, whatever specifics appeal to you. And oftentimes we move through that checklist perhaps busy and overburdened and really not really being thoughtful about what we want to do. And this is the reason that we've asked you to tell us why this project. Why are you interested in this project? And to do a little bit of thoughtful soul searching about what it is that you think you're doing. As director of research in the college, people have asked me quite a lot over the past few weeks what my undergraduate research experience was like. I didn't have one. I would never have approached a professor to ask them to create a research opportunity for me, or I was not a student that came from a family that many of my relatives have been to college. I was the second person in my family to go to college. And an experience like this would have been amazing, but I'm not sure that I would have had the guts to go approach someone and ask for it. And that's what we're trying to get the ball rolling on, is this to be a normal part of your undergraduate experience, and for it to become commonplace. Your expectation set is going to be changed, that it's just normal to go ask a professor what sort of experiences they have that might be appropriate to you, your career path, and your scholarly development.
Thumbs up for me on that. I know Dr. Neill and I have talked about this before, but yeah, I had the same experience, and it would have been wonderful. So we're trying to offer it for you guys.
And I would also encourage those of you that don't see a project in your home discipline to not be discouraged, right? This is a very strange year. I think we can all agree that this is not our most common year of experiences. And this being a new program, many of the projects, we don't have any creative projects, for instance, and that's not because we didn't select them, it's because we didn't get them. Because probably of the stipulations on face-to-face contact and things like that right now. So if you don't see something in your area, don't be discouraged. And I'm happy to have a conversation about ways that you might begin that conversation with a faculty member that you really want to work with, or have as a mentor moving forward. Let's see. One more question here in the chat. If we are only able to do a virtual project, should we mention this in our application? What I would suggest is maybe talk to the faculty member that you want to work with, right? Start that communication now and find out if that's feasible. And I think I haven't heard any statements from any of the project leaders, the principal investigators on these SURP projects, that there were no stipulations in the applications that I read that said applicants must be physically present to do this work. As I said, the guidance on face-to-face contact for research this summer is, it's evolving, and there are very strict safety protocols in place. And so I think, I can't speak for any of the project leaders, but I think that you will likely have a good deal of flexibility, but that is up to you and the faculty members. So start the conversation now, find out what you need to know. Are there any other questions or anything else I can tell you? All right. Well, I very much look forward to your applications. And again, all of this information is on the website. So reference it, read it again, and reach out to the faculty members that you're interested in working with. I'm also here if you need anything at all. I've funded close to a dozen students in faculty-led research, and I'm a really big supporter of this program. So I can't wait to see how it shapes up for the summer. Good luck to all of you.